Hello everybody, it's Josh. Rain let up, so I figured I'd come and do a video, and it's one that I think is very important, but I don't know if I fully understand how to do it yet. So we'll give it a shot, see how it goes. Because I really do think that the only thing that matters in my life is my relationship with Jesus Christ, my relationship with God. And therefore, through that, my relationship with others. Because God taught me everything I need to know about life and about love. And I found out that it is all, my entire life before this, it has all been lies and manipulations. That is something that we are plagued with, especially in America, but throughout the world, really. A lot of other countries, they still take God seriously. In our country, we say, "Oh yeah, that's nice. I'm going to go out and I'm going to pray. I'm going to go to church every now and then. I'm going to have a nice little relationship with God," right? Because it's more of like you hear about others having this relationship. You don't understand it because you can't. You can't understand it until you have one. I get it. But then you kind of go out and go through the motions. You're like, well, I guess this is how to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. It says through faith alone, through grace alone, right? That's what so many keep telling me. It's just faith alone. There's no works. There's no nothing. It's a lie. Yes, Jesus saves us through faith alone. True, we will never be able to do what Christ teaches us and live this perfect, sinless life. The difference between someone who is born again and everyone else is that the people that are born again strive constantly to not live in perpetual sin. But they understand, we understand, that we're not good enough. We will never, ever be close to living up to that standard that Jesus set for us. I encourage everyone to read Matthew chapter 7. I'll put the verses that I speak of in the description. But this was a great sermon, maybe the best sermon I've ever heard, by a man named Paul Washer, a great pastor. In 2002, there was a youth Evangelical Conference. And I kind of listened to some of the story. I'm still checking out more of it because it's such an amazing story. There's thousands of kids there. And Paul Washer's watching. And the night before that he goes on, there's some comedian, and he's making them all laugh, and they're all just joking and messing around, and how I would have been when I was a kid, not gonna lie. How I would have been even before I was saved, not gonna lie. But he starts telling them, the comedian, all these jokes. And then when they're done, then he's like, who's ready to accept Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior? And they have a bunch of kids just rush up on the stage, and Paul Washer was saying they're pushing, his wife almost got pushed down because all these kids are rushing up there to try to fit in. This is great fun. It's great fun. We're just messing around. Jesus is now our Lord and Savior. Look at this, virtue signaling. That is American Christianity summed up in a nutshell. It is American Christianity, and it is a manipulation by the devil. Because Matthew chapter 7, as Paul Washer was reading, well, he started out telling the kids, I'm going to preach to you as a dying man to other dying men and women. I'm going to tell you things that make you angry, that make you despise me, that make you have all kinds of problems with me. He's like, but I'm reading this, and the problem will not be with me, the problem will be with God. So everything I say here, it's God you're angry with if you don't agree with this. It's not me. I'm here to tell you the truth. I am here to get through these lies, this brainwashing that you've been subjected to your entire life. I'll tell you, when I listened to this sermon for the first time, I broke down. You see, I make it a point to devote my life to God. And those of us who think our salvation is secure just because we say a couple prayers and go to church every now and then, we're going to go and try to enter that narrow gate. And Jesus is going to say, "Be gone. I never knew you." Who will say, "But Lord, Lord, I did so many good works in your name. Look at me. I prophesied in your name. I healed people in your name. I prayed to you and went to church. Look at all the sacrifice that took." Isn't that impressive? The sacrifice it takes to go to church on Sundays. You know, not every Sunday, sure, but who's expected to go every Sunday? Let me ask you this, and it's kind of something that I've been trying to get this together in my head because I do not want to mislead people. You see, but I make it my life's work to find people who are stuck in the same sort of hell that I was in. And so, when you are stuck in that hell, you either go one of two ways. You say, "No, I'm just going to submit to the devil. I'm going to submit to my desires because at the very least I can trust my desires. I can trust the alcohol or the drugs or the sex or the gambling. I can trust those things to make me feel better. I can't trust God because God's never shown me any kind of mercy, any kind of grace. He's never shown me anything good in my life. And if he has, then I'm not even sure if it's not a delusion." That's one way, and that's the popular way that we go when we are in this vulnerable brokenness. You know, what's the quote that biblical Christianity will never be popular and popular Christianity will never be biblical? And that's absolutely true. People do not want to hear the truth. Churches, the mega churches, they're not telling you the truth. They're teaching things like prosperity gospels and as long as you just proclaim, "Lord, Lord," then you're going to heaven. Really? Because Jesus said otherwise. Jesus said that most will go down the wide path and try to enter through the wide gate. And that gate leads to only destruction. And he said that most who come down the narrow path and try to enter through the narrow gate, well, they'll say, "Lord, Lord." And they'll say, "I prophesied in your name. Why am I not allowed in here? What's going on?" But what did you do in life? Did you take it seriously? What did you take serious about your relationship with God? Think about the most important relationship with a human. Let's say your wife or your husband or your parents or your children. How much focus and energy do you put into those relationships? Because I'll tell you, whatever consumes your thoughts the most, that is your God. Now look, I try to sugarcoat all the time what it takes to have a relationship with God, but it does not work. It does not work to sugarcoat it. But then I know when people hear the truth about it, they're not going to want to do it. They're going to say, oh, it's a waste of time. Oh, I'm not going to put that much time into something I don't truly believe in. Again, it's manipulations you've been taught over and over. These things we've been told over and over that God's a joke and God is dead and this and that. And that, oh, well, Jesus probably wasn't even if he was a real man, he definitely wasn't anything. He wasn't God. Are you kidding me? That's laughable. I bought into all those lies. I thought, yeah, Jesus is a wonderful man. He was a great teacher. Maybe he was even an angel, I thought. I didn't understand what he was because I was told these lies and I didn't want to listen to them. I didn't want to listen to the Christians, I meant. Because most of the Christians I knew were despicable people. They were liars. They were hypocrites. They did not go down the narrow path. They walked down the wide path and yelled and screamed at everyone else on the wide path. Sinners! Look at you sinners! When they're on the same path that you are. I'm not here to judge you. I was in the same exact position as you. And I did not believe, but when I was broken enough, I said, I have to find out for sure. I have to go and talk to God and just see one final time before thinking, well, maybe I end my life, or maybe I just, most likely, I just kill myself slowly with whatever. You know, horrible diet, which obviously you see. I still have work to do on that. Look, the drugs, the alcohol, the sexual immorality, the need to focus on anything but God. Because God is unknown and unseen, so why would I waste my time on that? I want something tangible. I want something I can sense with my 5 senses at the very least. Is love something you can sense with your 5 senses? Is hate? These emotions that lead you around, are they something reliable that you can sense with your 5 senses, that you can measure and test scientifically? I get it. You've been told lies, so you have questions and you have doubts. We all have doubts. There's never going to be a time when you are completely without doubt. And if you are, then good for you, because I am as close as I can get to having no doubt. But, man, I tell you what, there's still that little kernel, little place where the devil goes in there and whispers in my ear, no, you are delusional. Listen to the atheists when they mock you because they are right and you are wrong. Listen to the non-believers because they're right and you are wrong. The non-believers, the generic New Age or New Thought spiritualists, they create God in their own image because why not? It's unknown and unseen. It's just a fantasy anyway. Why don't you just make up your own God? It's garbage. It really is. Jesus came to this earth. Jesus claimed to be God and showed us a perfect life. Showed us how to live. And there are thousands of original Greek documents and all kinds of translated documents to back up the stories that everyone who encountered him at the time believed. And I was like many of the non-believers. I said, well, where's all the outside sources? There's plenty of outside sources, not first-hand accounts, but people who encountered early Christians within a decades of Christ's death and resurrection. But why do you think that someone who witnesses these miracles, who witnesses a resurrected Jesus Christ, would be a non-believer? Sure, there are definitely going to be some. There are definitely going to be some who, like Richard Dawkins, I believe it was, who said, even if the stars aligned and said Jesus is Lord, I will never believe. Beware of the false prophets who come to you like wolves in sheep's clothing, ravenous wolves, and they will devour your faith. They will laugh and mock you. I have people on my live streams all the time. I got to the point where I just started ignoring them. They come to devour your faith. And they come saying, well, if you can't handle what I have to say, then your faith is not strong. But it's not about me being able to handle it. It's, are you going to subject yourself to the same dumb arguments over and over and over again? Because I can promise you there's many arguments against God and against Christ. And there are many more for God and for Christ. And the atheists and non-believers, their arguments stay the same. The arguments for God and for Christ keep piling up more and more and more. More evidence saying, yes, Jesus is the truth, the way and the truth and the life. No one can go to the Father except through him. We see in genetic code how there are literally algorithms. There's no way that it's just non-logical matter that just created life in some kind of biochemical miracle. To think that is absurd, and it takes more faith than having faith in God. So, if you look at the evidence for God, and you look at the evidence for Christ, and against God and against Christ, and you still decide there is no God, then Jesus is a lie, then there's nothing anybody can do for you. That's just your choice. But if you look at the evidence and say, yeah, it looks like the evidence says Jesus was real and he is who he says he is. He is God in human form, come as a humble carpenter from a tiny little town called Nazareth, full of sinners and broken men and women. And he came not as a conquering king, he came as a humble servant. He came to show us the light in the darkness. So if you look at the evidence, if you look at it and actually study it and actually take some time, don't just half-ass it and don't just say, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it might be, I don't know. I don't really care. If you don't care, then whatever. There's nothing anybody can do for you now anyway. Hopefully there'll be a time when you actually do care about your salvation. You actually do care if there's deeper meaning in life than the shallow existence you have now. There is meaning in your suffering. There is a loving God, whether atheists tell you or not. Because they say even if there is a God of Christianity, Yahweh is real, the Father is real, then he's an awful dictator. But no, they are so wrong about this. And again, that's an argument that takes months at the very least probably to understand. I've been trying to grapple with that for a long time, and it's finally made sense to me. But can I explain it to you even in a series of long videos? I don't know if I could yet. I hope I can one day. I've done a couple videos like that. Again, they're like, no argument is ever going to be convincing. So if no argument is convincing either way, there's a stalemate. But the facts keep piling up for Jesus being God. The facts keep piling up for God being real. The evidence keeps piling up. Look at the guy who wrote Case for Christ, Lee Bellinger or something, I think is his name. Sorry if I forgot his name. He wanted Christ to be a lie. He wanted to prove to his wife how much of a lie Christ was. And so he said, I'm going to go out and gather all the facts to show my wife and show her how dumb she's being. Because her wife was born again. She came to her faith. And the more he started to look into it, the more he realized, oh, wow, I was wrong. I was so wrong. Jesus absolutely is God. He was real and he is God. I was kind of like that too. I believed in God after I was saved, but I didn't want to be a Christian. I wanted what New Age spiritualists and what New Thought spiritualists have, to where they create God in their image so it's convenient for my life. But I made a commitment to God and I intend to keep it always. So I said, God, I will go wherever you lead me. And he led me right to the feet of Jesus Christ, saying all these other faiths and spiritualities, they are a lie. This is the truth. This is God. He's been right here the whole time with you. You just haven't understood it until now. So it is up to you. Are you going to keep just disregarding your faith, just treating it as like nothing? Like it doesn't really matter, but I'll virtue signal my way into heaven, right? Because if there really is a heaven, all I have to do is say, Lord, Lord. And he will say, be gone, I never knew you. How much time do you put into your most important relationship? How much time? And how much time are you willing to put into a relationship with God? If you're not willing to put even a fraction of the time that you put into your most important relationship, into your relationship with God, then you're not ready. Then you don't take it seriously. I wish you did. I wish you did. And I'm hoping there's a time in your life when you do. But man, I'm telling you, it is the most important relationship you will ever have. Take the most important relationship and the time and effort you put into it and times it by 10. Times it by 1,000, because that's what it deserves and more. You're never going to find meaning through your husband or wife, your parents, your children. You might love them, sure, but you don't really know what love is until you find God. You're never going to find purpose. You're never going to find peace. You might feel good. You might feel loved. And really, that feeling loved is great. I wish it for everyone. But those who feel unloved are more likely to take that relationship with God seriously, because when they feel the love He gives us, when we feel the love He gives us, there is no denying. And the thing that absolutely will happen when you are born again, when you have that relationship with Christ, is you will be transformed. Your life won't ever be the same. Everything you do, every thought you have, every word you say, every action you take will be transformed. Faith without works is dead. If you do not have a desire, a desperation to be with Jesus Christ, to do whatever you can in your life to please Him, then you don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ. You might think you do. You might have constructed one in your head, but you don't have one. And I'm not telling you this to judge you. I'm telling you this to save you. Please, please take Him seriously. Go out and give yourself to Him. Find a place in nature, find a room and shut the door behind you, wherever you can go to find seclusion and talk to Him. Tell Him all of your doubts. Tell Him all of your troubles. And say, I want to believe. Just please, I need you to show me something. And when you say this and you finally genuinely mean it, He will show you what heaven truly feels like. He will show you heaven on earth. And then, if you continue to serve Him, if you continue to make sacrifices in your life to Him, if you continue to have your life transformed by Him, you will be on the other side of the narrow gate, the right side of the narrow gate. I don't want you to be one of the ones on the outside screaming, why? I prophesied in your name, I did good works. All right, everybody. We get off of here. Go catch a little nap, maybe. Might just go ahead and listen to Paul Washer's sermon yet again, because it changed my life. There are maybe 4 sermons, maybe not even that. This is probably number 1 of the things that changed my perspective in my relationship with Christ. And I had it in my head that my salvation was all wrapped up. But no, we should never feel secure in our salvation. Those who feel secure in their salvation have convinced themselves of some kind of relationship they don't really have. Always be striving to please Jesus Christ. And He will find a way to show you everything you've been missing in life. The meaning, the purpose, the peace, and the love. All right, everybody. I love you all so much. God bless.